Hello, this is Randall with the Philippines Project. I'm back with another video. It's been about 3 weeks at least since I made the last video. This video is going to be a little bit different because it doesn't really have much to do with the Philippines other than when I'm back home in America, there are some things I can do that I haven't been able to do in the Philippines yet. And this video is all about making a beer, not one beer, but three. It ended up being a 3.5 gallon batch of what they call a porter beer. It's about the process and me being here at home in Missouri. And this may not be the kind of video you're looking for, but it's part of my life. If you like the channel, give it a thumbs up. If you hadn't been on our Facebook page, go in right now and check out the Philippines Project on Facebook. Like the page, and that way you can start following. But anyway, just enjoy the video, and I'll see you at the other side. Again, this is my second Missouri video. Let's show you something that I like to do as a hobby. First of all, I'm just starting this out. This is my kettle. I've got a little over 5 gallons of water in there. To bring it up to about 165 degrees. I've got 3 different kinds of hops. Have you ever seen hops before? These rabbits, they look like little rabbit pellets. That's what they remind me of, but they're pelletized hops. I'll put a picture of hops on the screen. And then I've got various and sundry materials out here. All this stuff over here. This is a tube where you put your hydrometer, which measures the gravity of your beer. Tube. Another, what they call a racking tube, siphon tube. And where's my little tube here? That's a bottling tube. So, and then various fixtures, bottle caps, a bottle capper. This, once the beer is the wort is done and it's ready to be fermented, you put this down, and I'll be showing you that inside the wort, and you'll have cold water come in and hot water come out, and you'll cool down your beer pretty quick. And I've got a lot of bottles. I've got tons of bottles outside, but I've been doing this a while. This is my first batch since 2018. Here's my bottling bucket. I'm just getting all this stuff out and cleaning it. Not the cleanest on the inside. And you've got to sanitize everything. I'm going to take you along that journey. I put my bag in this big kettle. This is actually what's going to filter out all the grain. Now, I'm not done putting the grain in, but I need to try to make sure I get all this stuff saturated with water. I poured in quite a bit of it and separate it all out. I'm going to put the rest of the grain in. You can see I got all the grain in it. Some of it's bubbling up. It's just sinking, but look how close to the top it is. That's what I'm really going to have to watch. And it will evaporate off slowly, but that's probably 6 gallon with the grain in there. Okay, that's what you don't want. That's first time I've ever seen that. They talk about a grain ball. You don't want any grain balls in there. You want all that stuff. See how it's dry? You got to make sure and get it stirred up. So that was 160 when I put it in there, a little over 160, and now it's at 155. It needs to stay about 150 to 155. I'm gonna put it back here on the burner. I'm just doing this off a stovetop. I'm gonna cover it up. I'm gonna add a little bit of flame just to kind of raise it just a little bit. I'm gonna keep it at that temperature for about an hour. I took the bag out of the big pot and put it in this smaller pot, and the temperature is at almost 160 degrees. But I like to watch the way this is called wort. You can actually see under the level. These are coming up off the bottom. It's kind of like multi-level. There's a swell right there, over there. It's interesting to watch this stuff, just the process. You got the little grains left over. This is all, whoo, that's a big bag. See that? Now I'm gonna put this boiling water over here so I can put back in here. Here it is a little longer in the process. We're up to just about 180 Fahrenheit, and you can see the creaminess. You can't see down into the wort anymore. It's going to sit like this until it gets up to about 200 to 212, which of course it'll boil at 212. But it's going to start to look like it's baking bread, and it's going to have what's called a break, and that's when it boils. And that's when we'll add our first hop selection. Our first hop selection is going to be what they call Galena hops. That's the bittering agent. That's the basic bitterness for this beer. I was actually pretty excited to find out that this old recipe, I bought it 2 years ago. I bought the grain like 2 years ago. We're going to see if it makes good beer, but what I found out, I found a recipe to it because I matched up the hops with what was on the recipe. And I got several recipes, so I had to find the right one, but it's what's called a Black Butte Porter. Porter's a dark beer. It's not quite a stout. It's just a dark beer for the fall time of the year, winter time of the year. Very popular, and it's a very popular beer. That's what I'm making. I'm at 200, almost at 210. You know what happens at 212? This stuff is going to rise up. If I leave that the same as it is now, that stuff will rise up in about 5 seconds and go all over the place. I am standing here, I'm standing guard until that happens, for sure. Don't want that. That's a sticky mess nobody wants. Okay, this is the exciting part. There's my thermometer. It's not even up to 210, but it's starting to get a slow boil. And that slow boil I will keep on this wort mixture for an hour. Once it really breaks and all this stuff goes away, then I'm going to add my first hops addition. I love it. It's a beautiful process. What we're going to do when this boil process has its perfect work here, this is going to rise up and we're going to shut down that flame. I'm just kind of have to stand here and just keep observing it. You see how that area just keeps getting broader and broader. And a stovetop is not ideal for brewing beer because it's taken almost an hour, 40 minutes so far just getting up to this point. So it's a lot of time when you don't have like an outside propane burner or something like that. This takes a while. The clear area is getting bigger, getting a little more violent. It's almost to 200, almost to 210, almost 212. I'm not saying that's accurate within a degree because this water's boiling right now. I'm gonna cut my first hops. It's just about time to add it. So I cut that, but I gotta sanitize everything. So this is all in a sanitized solution. Now this is all bacteria free on the outside. I'm just gonna drop that there. Wow, you can see it. It's boiling. You're gonna watch this and it's gonna go crazy, but it's just a little amount of hops. That's all the hops. The hops will make a little bit of more foam. See that different color foam? That's from the hops right there. They talk about hops in beer commercials, that's what it is. Now they grow them. You can throw hops in here that you grow, but I've never grown any, but I'm thinking about it. It's just a nice process. Added my second hops addition. It kind of makes it a little bit foamy, not too bad. A little steam off my camera there. We're in the second, that was 30 minutes into the boil. We added our, what they call Cascade hops. It's in there. I just added my last hops addition. You can see the green right there. That's what that is. We've got to boil it for a little bit more and then we'll put it in the fermenter. I took some sanitized solution and I sanitized this whole thing. This is the chiller, what they call a wort chiller. Got to get a gasket to put in there, but I will submerge this in here and it will cool off the wort in markedly less time than what it would take just to set. I'm out here, I've hooked up my wort chiller right here. I'm gonna dump that down in the beer. I'm gonna bring it out here and then it'll go through the coils and it'll cool down my beer. This is just a test run. Looks good there. This is the most important, no leakage right there, because that's where it's gonna go in. Looks like I got a good flow. I'm ready to bring it out. All right, so it's about 5 gallons, almost 5 gallons of wort. You may worry about this being sanitized, but it was already sanitized and it's going into boiling water. So the wort chiller is in the water. The hard part is almost over. Put that down on there and let's see what the temperature is. What is it? It's already down to 160.
159.
And that water will keep circulating through there, coming out there. This is going to be cold water. This is hot. Can you touch it? Cold?
Oh, yeah.
It's already hot, taking the heat out of that beer. And it's down to 140 degrees right now. And the water's just pouring out there. That water feels like shower temperature. But it's coming right out of the cold water out of the garage. We'll see. I forgot about the camera, but right now, getting the beer, you can see I've sucked it down over here quite a bit. See the grain line there? And then it's going down this tube into the fermenter. And that's where it's going to sit until it makes its perfect work. I got the beer in the fermenter. Got a lot of trub and stuff in it, but that's just part of it. Now I'm going to use this liquid yeast. I'm reading the directions on this thing. We're going to put it in here in a second. I took a glass of that wort right there and put it in here, and then I'm going to measure my gravity. When I first started, the gravity was right there at the top of that green level. It was at, I said 1. Now it's at 5.25. So I'm not sure what that alcohol level is, but maybe I can look it up and let you know. So I poured my yeast in the top. I shook it, and now I've got to put an airlock on it. I'm going to put some sanitize on the inside of this to make a bubble. That'll just be an airlock for it, so no bacteria can get inside of it. And when it starts fermenting down here, and it will in a little while, this thing's going to start bubbling. And then you put this little loose cap on it here. I got it down there pretty hard, but just kind of put it on there loosely, because there's your seal right there. When I get ready to bottle, I can bottle right from here. Or I can put it in a bottling bucket and get rid of some of this, they call that trub on the bottom, you see it? Most of that will settle out, but it'll still be down in here whenever it gets done. I'm going to say it's going to take about 3 days to make that beer. I get this off of here. I've got that, which I'm not going to use that. I've got a bottling bucket down here. It's been sanitized, and so I'm going to take this, put it down in here, and I'm going to siphon that wort down in the bottom. The stuff's going to go down here in the bottom, and this is called a racking tool. You just pull it up, you watch it, it'll start to siphon. Now you can see you're really trying not to get a lot of this sediment down in there, and you're also not wanting to bubble a lot down there. You always got to check your valve down there, make sure nothing's leaking on the outside.
I closed that.
This is what I got out of the bottom of this fermenter, and I put it all into this bucket, and you can see it looks nice and pretty in there. The flow on it, it's a pretty good clear flow. This is a clarification process. I'm putting it back in it's my favorite fermenter. It's called a big mouth bubbler. It's just easing in there. Hopefully we'll end up with almost 3 gallons. This is what I got left. It looks like it's pretty much ready to bottle or keg. And this is what I poured off. You see how it's separating? That's really all the usable wort left. I did pretty good. It's still got a lot of sediment in it. And I can reuse that for yeast if I'm careful. I hope you enjoyed that video. This has been a hobby of mine for a number of years. Not that I do it. I don't do it every week. I don't do it all the time, because when I first started, I was trying to run 2 businesses, and I probably made a good 10 batches of beer. And so I know a little bit about the fermentation process. I know, about how to ferment beer, how to turn it into, how to cook the grains and turn it into what they call wort, and then it turns over into, you put the yeast in, it starts the process, it produces alcohol, it produces the flavors of the beer. Anyway, I'm going to show you right now the beer that I made, and we'll see how it tastes. I'm going to open the bottle, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done, and we'll do a taste test. All right, that little pop. See, like the fog down in there. Got the bottle open. Nice Sam Adams beer glass here. Let's just see what it looks like. I'll pour it in there. It's a really dark. It's got a lot of roasted malts in it, some roasted barley, and so it's a very dark beer. It's got a real, like a chocolatey head on top of it. It has some little bit of chocolatey flavors, roasted grain. It's got a really good dark, and this is a good wintertime beer, which in the Philippines we don't have to worry about that. But this is thick. It's not a high alcohol beer at all. It's probably about a 4% because my efficiency is not that great on brewing. Oh yeah, it's very delicious. It's got that a little bit of bite from the carbonation, and it's pretty amazing what I made just for myself, and just took a few weeks, mostly waiting. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to brew a batch of beer, 4 hours if you're good. And with the equipment that I have, that's what I'm able to do. All in all, took about, I think, 5-6 days in the fermenter, which you can leave it longer than that, but I could tell my fermentation had stopped. So I went ahead and put it in another vessel and cleared it up a little bit from all the yeast cake on the bottom. And yeah, I'm happy with it. Turned out to be a pretty good beer. Made 24 beer bottles. I don't know what that cost, but you know, I've got money in some equipment. I've got money in different products. So it's not like you're saving a lot of money, but it's a hobby. It's a good hobby. And once you have beer like this and anything that you can make, it always tastes fresher, always tastes better than what you can buy in the store. That's all I've got. This is Randall Meek of the Philippines Project. I'll see you next time, hopefully sooner, with another video. Thanks for watching.